Hi friends, if my eyes are watery, I just put in eye drops, okay? How are you doing today? Are you having a good day? I sure hope so. My name is Bailey Sarian, and today is Monday, which means it's murder, mystery, and makeup. Hi. If you're interested in true crime and you like makeup, I would highly suggest you hit that subscribe button because I'm out of breath. Okay, can I just tell you guys something really quick before I jump into today's story? Two things. One, I had COVID. Let me tell you. I give it 1 out of 5 stars. I would highly recommend you do not get that shit. It sucked. Bitch, I was like, Jesus, I'm coming to see you, my guy. I'm coming, Jesus. I'm sorry, Jesus. You know, like I saw the light. I saw it. I am going to give it 1 out of 5 stars because I did get some really great sleep. But for the most part, avoid that shit. Please, highly recommend you do not get it, okay? 2, today I have a lot of new products. I feel like on my Monday uploads, I've been kind of using the same thing consistently, and I'll swap in some new stuff here and there, but today there's a lot of new stuff I'm gonna try. Not a lot, like 4. But that's a lot for me. So I'm telling you this only because if my makeup looks like absolute garbage, I haven't tried any of this. So, you know, just a little disclaimer, if I look like shit, sorry about it. It's that time of the year, everyone. The holiday season has officially arrived. I love the holidays so much. I mean, the lights, the decorations, the candles that smell like trees. But along with the holiday magic can come a very busy schedule. The family dinners, get together with friends if you have friends. No shade, I don't. But you can count on HelloFresh to get you some of your free time back by making cooking simple and quick. With HelloFresh, each recipes and pre-portioned ingredients arrive right to your door, so you can skip going to the grocery store and also just like cut out a lot of the prep. I'm not really a fan of going to the grocery store. I wander around for far too long. I'm like, what do I even like to eat? Who am I? I start having like a midlife crisis. So I love that HelloFresh delivers right to me and you don't have to even worry about going to the grocery store. Well, HelloFresh, they have the quick and easy options like the 20-minute meals and easy cleanup recipes that allow you to have like more time for other things, or maybe like just more time to enjoy dinner around the table with the loved ones or by yourself if you're a loner like me. So they have like over 35 weekly recipes and there's something to please even the pickiest eaters. Also, you can easily customize your recipes by swapping proteins or sides. You can like upgrade to choice proteins or even add protein to a veggie meal if you wanted to. I freaking love HelloFresh because not only do they deliver everything you need right to your door, but also the meals are so bomb. And on top of that, I've mentioned here many times, right? Like I cannot cook. So with HelloFresh, they give you recipe cards that break down like step by step how to make the meal. So if you're like me and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, like look, they got you covered. You can do it and they make it so easy. Now, I have never met a HelloFresh meal that I didn't like, but my favorite one has to be the Thai coconut curry chicken. It has like cilantro, lime rice. Girl, let me tell you, it's so bomb. If this sounds like your cup of tea, go to HelloFresh.com and use code BaileySarian70 for 70% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com and use code BaileySarian70 for 70% off plus free shipping. Thanks, HelloFresh. So let's get into today's story. If you're ever curious to know what I'm using, I do leave it down in the description box down below. But other than that, let's talk about this young man. I'm just kidding. He's not young. He's old. Robert Moorman. Not the religion. Just last name, Moorman. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So Robert Moorman, he was born June 4th, 1948. There's really not much said about like his upbringing. But the things that we do know for sure is that as soon as Robert was born, his dad, like, just up and left. Poof, gone, vanished. He was a magician, I guess. And with Robert's mommy, she very young. She was 15 years old, I guess, when she got pregnant. She was working as a sex worker and not ideal. It was said that at 15, Robert's mom, she was a raging alcoholic. At 15. So from the very beginning, things for Robert, it's a little rough, to say the least. So things are not too great for Robert. I think that's safe to say. And his mother, she doesn't want to be a mom. She's 15. She's drinking a lot. There's no actual proof of this, but it was mentioned many times that people were pretty sure his mother drank heavily during her entire pregnancy, which, if that's true, not great. You know, not ideal to be doing that. So the decks were pretty much all stacked against him. I think that's safe to say. Now get this, because it's like, okay, things are already pretty crappy, but then they get crappier. When Robert was 2 years old, his mom, she was involved in like a horrible car accident. And I guess, like, not to get graphic, but she broke her neck and then she died. I know, she was only 17. So this isn't going to be good, right? This is the combination of something real bad. And that's why we're here, because after his mom's death, Robert was basically an orphan. I mean, yeah, he was. Robert went to go live with his maternal grandparents, but that didn't even last long because, surprise, surprise, I don't know if it's a surprise or not, but his grandfather was also a raging alcoholic. So it's just kind of like one bad situation to another to another. So it wasn't long after until the authorities came in and removed Robert from like the situation, from his grandparents' home. And they ended up placing him into the foster care system. And the poor boy, he bounced around to like 6 different foster homes. And then he was officially adopted by a couple in Arizona, and their name was Henry and Roberta Moorman. This is also a side note because it's like speculation or whatever, but I don't think Robert was this guy's name, like his real name, because his full legal name now that he was adopted was Robert Henry Moorman. So he was adopted by Henry and Roberta Moorman, and then his full legal adopted name was Robert Henry Moorman. Yeah, so it sounds like a combination of the parents' name, right? I mean, it doesn't even sound like it. Kind of is. I feel like it's not like a puppy, right? You can't just like change someone's name. I mean, you can. I'm sorry, you can. Maybe his name was really stupid or something. I'm not sure. But they changed his name. Mind you, when Robert is adopted, he's like 2 or 3 years old at this point. So I think he knew his name, but it's okay. They changed it. So this is your new name now, sweetie. It was said that the couple, Henry and Roberta, like she really wanted a kid. Henry says that he was a little weirded out by adopting. He didn't really want to do it, but Roberta wouldn't let up because it's always the woman's fault, you know? So Henry was like, when everything happened, he was like, I said I didn't even want the baby. Just typical. Not typical, but am I surprised? No. Anyways, so Henry was a little weird about adopting Robert, but Roberta convinced him and they went ahead with it. Okay, so they renamed the kid. Not bad, whatever. We're not judging, kind of. But other than that, Henry and Roberta, they were like very well-respected, active members in their community, and they were living in Flagstaff, Arizona. And Henry, he ran a taxi service, and Roberta, she had like lots of friends. She was very social, and many would say that she was the perfect like 1950s housewife, and the family kind of tried to paint this traditional all-American little family. And now that they had this little boy, you know, America and like 50s tradition, yay. And the Mormons in general in their neighborhood, I mean, they were very popular, well-liked. If you've been watching these Monday episodes, you know, like if you're well-liked, popular, whatever, you could be a murderer. If you're crazy, psycho, whatever, you could be a murderer. If you're tall, you could be a murderer. If you're short, you're a murderer. Everyone's a murderer at this point. There are no more red flags. So Henry and Roberta, they, again, popular. People weren't quite feeling this new kid, though. Henry and Roberta, they're like, we love them. Wow, oh my God, they're so amazing. This new kid, Robert, people were like, something's a little off with him. Like, he just was a little weirdo. And I'm not saying that. They're literally like people in the neighborhood would call him a weird kid, a weirdo. They just thought he was weird. That's the only word people knew when referring to little Robert. I mean, again, this is the 50s. Obviously, if you're different in any way, shape, or form, it just doesn't go well for you. Life is gonna be a little rough. Like I said, Robert's brain was probably really maybe a little off in the beginning because he potentially, maybe, we don't know, allegedly had fetal alcohol syndrome. Also, traumatically losing his mother at a young age, who also probably didn't even have the capacity to meet his needs in the first place. And then jumping from a bunch of different foster homes to his alcoholic grandfather. I mean, we don't need to even say anymore, right? The Moorman family, they didn't have other kids, but they had family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, all that stuff. They would all, I guess, talk shit about Robert. No one really liked this guy. But here's the weird part. When I was kind of looking up, why they didn't like him, I'm laughing because it was always he was weird. No one liked him. He seemed weird. You're like, oh, okay. Robert in school did struggle. He had severe learning disabilities, and he was also placed in special ed classes. So again, this theme of things not being that great, kind of just consistent throughout his life. And yeah, I'm laughing because I keep saying the same shit. It's just not going great for him. It's just sad. Things were just really tough for Robert growing up. And basically, he only had his adopted mother, on his side or in his corner. One of his relatives said that Robert was almost a, quote, throwaway child, end quote. Yeah. And never received the same amount of love as any of the other, children his age. So it's okay, thanks. But his mother, his adopted mother, was always there for him. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Well, bad thing. Why are we here right now, Bailey? I know. But even his relationship with his mom, it just not going to last forever, this good relationship. When Robert was 13 years old, he was committed to a state mental hospital after he, quote unquote, accidentally tried to shoot Roberta with his rifle. It happens. He was just accidentally shot her. And, Roberta, she was all right. She wasn't hit or anything, but the bullet definitely grazed her, came by very, very, very close. Very close. And Robert claimed that he was just showing his mother the gun and it accidentally went kabam, kabooey, and went off. That's what he said. Because of this little oopsie daisy, I accidentally shot my adopted mother, Robert landed himself in the mental hospital. Now, I couldn't find out how long he was there for, but I guess long enough that they made a note of it. Anyway. Oh, wow. This is a fun color. So that's pretty much all the information there is, about his upbringing and stuff. That it was bad. All of it was bad. That's what it said. I mean, both intellectually, emotionally. Robert was said to be, pretty behind as a human. Now, it was said that Robert really couldn't live on his own. Well, it's not that he couldn't. I think from my understanding, he could live on his own, but it wasn't ideal. He wouldn't take care of himself and whatnot. So he would live with his parents. And then eventually it was him and his mom, Roberta, they became very dependent on each other. And it was even said that when Henry died in 1967, Robert and Roberta became attached at the hip, super creepy, where it's the older mother is clinging on to her child for comfort and control. Something. It was like that. Some mommy dearest vibes. Robert did take a little initiative in 1972 when he ended up abducting one of the neighbor kids. Yep, here we go. Buckle in. When Robert was 24 years old, he ended up kidnapping one of the girls in the neighborhood she was 8 years old. Little girl, lives in the neighborhood, not great. He then took her, this 8-year-old, to Vegas, allegedly sexually assaulted her multiple times on the way. And some later would say that Robert, his original target was the girl's mother, who he was having rape fantasies about her, and he wanted to kidnap her, but I guess she wasn't there, so he's I'll get the girl instead, Well, whatever was the reason, no one could prove the mother theory, and no one really could even prove the sexual assault of the daughter. So when Robert got caught, because he got caught, he was charged with kidnapping, and he ended up receiving a sentence of 9 to life, which sounds about right. Robert would spend the next 12 years at prison in Florence, Arizona. His mother, Roberta, still loving him, visiting him often. She would drive 3.5 hours on the bus just to get to where Robert was, like the prison he was staying at. She just wanted to support her son. I don't know, lady. I mean, okay. She stood by him no matter what he did. It was still her kid. So something interesting that happens, I guess, at some prisons for some kinds of crimes. So this prison, Florence prison, did something called a furlough. Now this is a break, a vacation from jail. Yeah, it's like a day pass. You get out of prison. They're like, hey, you could just like go live, have some fun, just get back here in time for dinner. I don't know about you, but seems a little different, That's different. Are they going to come back? Maybe. So with the furlough, you could get up to 3 days off of prison. Honestly, great deal. Sounds great. Sign me up, And this is exactly what they did for Robert. Now, I don't know who decides who gets furloughed. Like maybe good behavior is what I'm assuming. Like, hey, you've been here. You've been a real good boy. You go outside and go potty for 3 days, come back. But they did. So Robert gets 72 hours of furlough. And he's probably like, cool, I'm going to Disneyland. Now, Robert didn't have many friends. I think maybe you can understand that. So at least not any friends outside of prison. So naturally, like when he's leaving prison, he's not going to go hang out with his friends. He's going to hang out with his mom, his mommy, Roberta. And yeah, Roberta, she's on board. So Roberta goes and she picks him up, 3-hour drive. Now, because they only have 72 hours together, Roberta's like, well, I don't want to waste 3 of those hours driving all the way back. Let's just get a hotel locally when we could stay there. And, it kind of makes sense, right? It's not very far from the prison. She doesn't have to do that long drive. And they could just hang out in the hotel room, which sounds creepy, right? But okay. So I know a lot of you at home are doing the same exact thing I'm doing right now, which is like, if you're furloughed, like, wouldn't you just pick up and leave? Why go back, right? So the happy couple ends up booking a hotel room at the Blue Mist Hotel, and it's like a local motel. What's the difference between hotel and motel? I always forget. Anyways, but it's close by, okay? They're staying here. They're going to hang out. They're going to spend some time together without having the prison glass barrier in between them. Probably hang out at the pool, have a couple brewskis. I don't know. Blue Mist Hotel sounds fancy. The two of them, they check in the first day, right? Now they lay low. Nobody really sees them doing anything. They're not being weird yet. They're just paying customers at this point. However, the next morning, Robert is seen at a local store, and he's buying a buck knife, a steak knife, and some snacks. Now, the weird thing was, the snacks didn't need a knife. So it was like, okay. Anyways, nobody sees Roberta, though. It's only Robert who's seen buying these items. Then, after that, Robert's a little hungry. So he stops at the pizza parlor where allegedly he knew the owner. I don't know how, but he did. This story's weird. There's just lots of information that was driving me nuts that I could not find. But Robert stops at the pizza parlor. He knows the owner. He's like, hey, what's up? How's it going? You're working at the pizza parlor. Wow, I love pepperoni. It's so great. So during this conversation, Robert tells the friend or the owner of the pizza parlor, he's like, yeah, my mom, she hasn't been feeling well all morning. So, I gotta go stop and pick up a few things for her. Just kind of something in passing, right? Keep that in your noggin. After going by the pizza parlor, he goes back to the hotel. And he goes to the front desk and he tells the same thing to the staff member. He's like, my mom's not feeling well. She's kind of sick. Don't send housekeeping because she's sick. Robert, after saying this to the front desk person, he then kind of has this moment where he's like, actually, can I get some disinfecting spray? So the person at the front desk gives him the disinfecting spray. Maybe he's a germaphobe. Maybe mom is sick, but okay. So he gets it. Robert, what you up to? We don't know. So that happened. And throughout the 3 days, the 72 hours that Robert was out, it was said that he was seen and interacted with a lot of people throughout the days. Later that morning, his second day at the hotel, one of Roberta's friends actually comes by and she drops off a suitcase. So it's just getting all sorts of suspicious. I guess Roberta had forgotten her suitcase. So the friend comes out, brings it, drops at the door. Robert answers, and she's like, hey, I'm here to drop this off for your mom. And Robert tells the friend, oh, she's not here. She's not here right now. She's visiting someone. She's like, that's interesting, but okay. And right before the friend's about to leave, Robert is like, hey, can you actually throw away these garbage bags for me? They're kind of heavy, like I can't look. Can you throw them away for me on your way out? So he gives the garbage bags to the friend. And as you can imagine, I don't know, maybe there's something in the garbage bags. One thing the friend did mention though was that when she peeked into the room, kind of like behind Robert, she saw that Roberta's bag, her purse, her pocketbook was still in the bedroom. So she was getting all sorts of funky feelings like, something ain't right here. These trash bags are weird. So then he goes back to the pizza parlor from earlier. He tells the acquaintance, the pizza parlor owner or whatever, that his mom is feeling a lot better and she went out to visit a friend around like 6 p.m. Right now, it may not sound that weird, but when you really think about it, could you imagine you're at work and someone comes up to you, a friend, and they just are like, hey, my mom's feeling better and she's going to go visit a friend at 6 p.m. Wouldn't you be like, okay, and, like, why are you telling me this? It's a little weird, Robert. Anyway, so then he casually asks his friend, the pizza parlor guy, to help him throw away some, quote, cow guts. So, have a feeling it's not a cow, but he's cow guts. He has cow guts, I guess. I don't know. This world is just weird. Anyways, the pizza parlor guy, yeah, he's like, something's not right. Like, I need to call the cops immediately. So as soon as Robert leaves, the parlor owner calls the police, which was 100% the right thing to do in this situation. I totally forgot. He's furloughed right now. He's a furloughed inmate, and he's asking for someone to get rid of cow guts. Yeah, so you should probably call the police. Good idea. Police go out to the hotel that Robert and his mother are staying at, right? So police arrive at the motel room at around 10:30 p.m. Now, Robert answers the door, okay, and says like, yeah, I'm here with my mom, but she's actually out visiting someone. And then they're like, well, when did she leave? Like asking further questions. And Robert tells the police that, he's like, well, thank God you guys are here because I'm actually really nervous. Like, she's been gone since 6 p.m. and she's not home. It was 10:30, right? She's not home and she needs to take her medicine. So he's telling this to the police. Like, I'm worried. Well, I guess the police, they just leave. I mean, there's nothing they could do except for file a missing persons report, I guess. They're like, all right, good luck with that. Like, we'll keep an eye out, and they leave. And then Robert just continues his night. So once the police leave, Robert, he stops by the front desk again, and he asks them like, hey, can I throw away some stuff? He's just like sloppy and I don't know what this. Yeah, whatever. He goes to the front desk. Can I throw some stuff away in your guys' trash can? Mine's full. Yeah. So she's like, I just have a ton of garbage, So weird. And the reason I bring this stuff up is because it's just his behavior is a little bizarre, right? Robert goes back to his motel room. He picks up the phone and he calls one of the lieutenants from the prison that he technically lives in, right? At the Florence prison. So he calls up the lieutenant and he's like, hey, how's it going? Great. I've got some great bones over here. Oh, yeah. Just a big box of bones for the prison dogs to chew on. Do you want me to bring them? I mean, it's not funny, but like, what are you doing, Robert? Anyways, so I think most of us would have just not done that, but not Robert. He told the lieutenant on the phone, like, if you come pick them up, the dogs, they can have a toy they could chew away. So, okay. All right, Robert. Sure, Say what you want about this man, but do not say that he isn't generous. Very giving man. Well, after the police had spoken with Robert, they thought he was a little bizarre, right? His behavior was weird. He just gave them weird vibes. So the police, once they left, they went back to the office or whatever the fuck, and they did some digging on Robert. And they confirmed that, like, he wasn't just a normal guy, like, staying at a hotel with his mom. Fun family vacation. No, this guy, he's a furloughed prisoner, and he's incarcerated technically for a very violent crime. Like, we should probably keep our eyes on this guy. So the two officers informed their boss that Miss Moorman was actually missing, and they couldn't find her. So the boss goes with them back to the motel, and at this time, it's about 1 a.m. Now, when they get there, Robert lets the officer's into his room, and he shows, like, this is my mother's medicine she left behind. She so desperately needs it. Like, he's still trying to act like he's very worried, but it's very clear that he's just being weird and awkward, you know? But he thinks he's believable, as they usually do, huh? So once the police officers and the captain, everyone's inside, the captain notices he spots some small brownish red spots on the floor, also on the wall. Also, the floor was wet. And not only that, like, Robert starts telling the captain a different story, you know? It's not funny. It's not. It's just, I just can't believe this is real. It sounded fake. It's just so stupid. Because he tells the officers a completely different story. He said that his mother had asked him to purchase a knife as a gift for someone. But when he got back from the store, his mother was gone. She left. It was all a lie. She didn't want a knife. She was just trying to get him out of the house or the motel. Okay, so the captain's like, hey, we actually heard from your pizza friend that you had cow guts. You want to tell us about that? Like, well, what's going on with these cow guts? I'm intrigued. Robert tells the police officer that his cousin gave him the cow guts as a gift. You know, that's okay. Yep, he got them as a gift because at every age, sometime in life, you just get cow guts. It's a normal gift. So the captain is like, okay, where are they? And he's like, well, I flushed them down the toilet. So he's just arrest him. I know technically, legally, you can't, but it's like, come on. What more do we need? This is all weird. So the police realize that they're really not getting anywhere. And then the captain turns to his other officers and he's like, look, keep an eye on this guy, okay? So the captain takes off, and Robert doesn't know that he's being watched, but he is. He's under surveillance, and the officers see Robert leave the room about 15 minutes after the captain had left. He leaves the room, and he uses a payphone nearby. This is a side note, but I feel like recently, I haven't been finishing my makeup in time. Oh, I'm so sorry. So this is where the information kind of gets a little murky, but apparently it's during this 15 minutes when the captain gets word that a prison employee had stopped to pick up a box of dog bones. Now, this happened like an hour earlier. So, I mean, what the hell is going on at the Blue Mist Motel? I don't know, something weird. So police spot him, go to the payphone, they wait until he's done, and then, so the officers go up to him and they ask, like, hey, Robert, do you want to come, sit with us in our police car? And we could just kind of wait for your mom together so you don't have to be alone. And Robert tells the police officers, sure, that's a great idea. So Robert follows the police officers, he gets into their car, and they're just waiting for Robert's mom to show up. Now it's about 2:30 in the morning, and still no sign of mom. She is just a magician, vanished again. Officers are able to fully examine Robert's motel room because he's in the police car, and this is where they find a box filled with bones. I guess it's obvious that they're human bones. It's not like chicken bones. So they open up this box filled with bones, and some of them have the flesh still on the bone, and then others see that there's other bones that it's stripped off. So Robert's arrested. Great, obviously. And police, again, now they're just full on examining his motel room because what the fuck is going on? Bones in a box? Yeah. Bones in a box. So police are now examining his full motel room, and they find blood-stained bedding, blood all over the floors, blood all over the walls, as well as Roberta's bra hanging in the closet with $500 in cash, safety pin to it. I feel like there's a joke there, but I don't know what it is. Anyways, nearby, there's dumpsters, where they dump the motel trash, and that's where police would find Roberta. And not find her, all of her. They found, parts of her. She was all over the place, literally. Yeah, that's what it said. She was all over the place. Oh, dear. Oh, God. So, yeah, Robert was definitely arrested. The rest of the investigation focused on finding those remains, and also they searched Robert's prison cell. When they searched Robert's prison cell, they found, really weird, creepy handwritten notes where it seemed like Robert was essentially trying to fake a will from Roberta, leaving Robert, all of the money. You get it. It's a fake will so Robert can get all the money and everything. In fact, Roberta, she did really leave a will. It was typed up, not written. And she really did leave everything to Robert in her actual will. Now, I don't know why he was faking a will. I think we're going to find out. But she did say he wouldn't be able to handle it alone and that someone would need to help him manage his life, the money, and all the responsibility that would come after she dies, which makes sense because he's obviously not doing too great. So they think this is the motive. Was this murder for the money, for everything? That's what they're thinking. So, trial. Robert killed his mom, okay? He then dismembered her, and he tried to dispose her body and all of her remains. He, dropped it off all around town. That's what we know for sure. Those are the facts. At trial, Robert did admit that he killed his mom, but he claimed that he was not guilty by reason of insanity. He said, quote, "I accept responsibility for what happened that night. The only two people in that room were her and me. I know I'm guilty of the crime. I wish I could go back and undo it, but I can't." End quote. Yeah, they always say the same shit, right? It's like, okay, and what do you want us to do? Forgive you? That's between you and Jesus, okay? This is also a side note. I have a runny nose, illness, sick. Stop accusing me of doing drugs. Okay, I don't do drugs. I have a runny nose. Thank you. Anyways, Robert's lawyer argued that he was so mentally impaired that he really didn't have the capacity to be guilty. Yes, he did it. He admits that he did it, but he really didn't know what he was doing. He had no idea he was carrying around a box of bones. Come on. Give him a break. Robert's lawyer brought in a bunch of witnesses and people who knew Robert in real life. Many of them took the stand saying that they had known him all the way up to his adult life and that he didn't act like a grown-up. He didn't act like an adult. He acted like a very young child and that he always had acted like a young child. So then during trial, 3 psychologists were brought in and they all testified that Robert suffered from pedophilia and schizophrenia. Bad combo, I'm sure, and a bunch of other horrible mental illnesses. And that they believed he really didn't know what he was doing. All 3 of them took the stand saying that he probably had no idea that he was actually killing his mom or what he was doing in general until after it was done. 3 different psychologists. So then during trial, it comes out, Robert's defense. Robert was like, look, I didn't just kill for shits and gigs, okay? Robert said his defense was that not only had he been traumatized from day one by his birth mother, but also he had been traumatized by his grandmother or grandparents, the foster care system, pretty much everyone around him. The fact that he didn't have any type of support system. Pretty much he took the stand and said, my defense is that my life was really shitty and that's why I'm like this. But then during trial, some bombshell information is dropped. Girl, Robert claims that his mother, adopted mother, Roberta, had been sexually abusing him since childhood. Oh, shit. Honestly, okay, look, I think it's true because Roberta was creepy. I believe that. I don't know Roberta, never met her. She's R.I.P. But their relationship, the way it was described, seemed very, That was his take, though, and that's what he said. And no one could find any proof of it, to be fair. So, I mean, it could be, it could not be. They were very close, and she's not here to defend herself, but that's what was brought into trial. Robert said, that the abuse had started in childhood and had continued all the way up until he killed her. Even up in the hotel room that they were staying at, she was gonna, try and engage in sex. Fucking, ew, why? I saw that coming, didn't I? So during the trial, Robert kept changing his statement. He said that at one point, he killed his mother, or stepmom. He killed her while they were having sex in a fit of rage. Or I could see that. That probably makes more sense. If they're, and he snaps and he kills her. But anyway, so he said that. And then another time he said that he was playing with her breasts. And then he said that he doesn't remember anything after that, that everything blacks out. He wakes up, he remembers vaguely dismembering her, but he maintains that he killed her because he just couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want to fuck his mom. Don't blame him. So this became a very, is it controversial or like a hot topic? Because a lot of people are Team Robert. Because let's say she was abusing him. He self-defense. He just wants her to stop. He's not well. He's not right in the head. Like, I can see that side. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable, and I don't know why. Because I don't know. It's just, why is it so uncomfortable? Oh, because he's a murderer. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, Bailey. After all of this and just 2 hours of deliberations, the jury rejected his plea of not guilty by reasons of insanity, and Robert was convicted to death. I guess you could say, like, this is where the luck ran out for Robert. I don't think he had any luck, if we're being honest. But, like, it probably ran out on day one. But luck ran out even more with this little part, because the law says anyone with an IQ under, if you get an IQ score of, like, 70, there's a law that protects you. You can't be put to death if you have a low IQ score. But they found that Robert's IQ was slightly above 70. Like, he was 71. You know, like, it was just slightly. Like, he was off a little. He was just a little too smart. Had to die. This guy just, I don't think he had any luck. This is wow, poor guy. I feel really bad for him. Obviously, I think we can all agree, shouldn't have done what he done. But I don't think he should have been put to death. I think his mom is probably abusing him, and he probably tried to kill her in self-defense. And that's where the law just gets it so wrong. Did you guys know, this is a side note, but there's there's court trial that's going on now. I forget the girl's name, but she was sex trafficked or something, and she killed the guy, the pimp, I think, and she's getting like 9 years in prison or something stupid. Like, she shouldn't even be. Don't get me started. This is giving that. So yeah, they convicted him and he was sent to death row. Now the judge said apparently that even though he did have, quote, a diminished intellect, that the crime was so horrible and so cruel that he really had no choice but to recommend death. Okay, I guess. I mean, okay. Where are they now? Little update. Robert was executed in 2012. It was 28 years after his sentencing. That made him one of Arizona's longest death row prisoners ever. Congratulations, I guess. I feel like we do a lot of these on this show. We should hand out awards, I guess. So Robert used his last words to apologize to his family and also to the family of the 8-year-old girl he kidnapped and allegedly molested, he said. Allegedly. He said, quote, "I hope this brings closure and they could start healing now. I just hope that they will forgive me in time," end quote. That's sad. But like, yeah, you could still be sad for someone who does bad things. Come on. We're not children. Also, just an FYI in case you end up in prison in Florence, Arizona, because of Roberta's murder, they canceled their furlough program. Probably a good call, but Robert ruined it for everyone. So skip that prison. Just kidding. No, I'm not. But why was that a thing? The story's over right now, but I didn't put on my lip. So hold on. I'll be right back, okay? Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Yes, I would. And I'll tell you why. Because do you think he deserved death? And do you think Roberta abused him? Now, let's just say Roberta did, in fact, abuse him. Let's just say she did, in fact. He shouldn't get death, right? Right? I don't know. Not death. I mean, maybe life, because he did get that 8-year-old girl. Like, we can't excuse that. That, I don't even know what that was about, but that was something. So I feel like he's got to pay some time for that. And he did kill his mom, but I don't know. I just would like to hear your guys' opinions down below. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sorry I keep doing nude lips lately. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry, first of all. But I am sorry because I just got an office. This is completely side note. I just got an office and like, it's so cool, but all my lipsticks are not here. So I only have like nude. So I'll be doing like a bold lip soon. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. You make good choices. Please be safe out there. If you see someone walk around with a box of bones Mind your business, all right? All right. I'll be talking to you guys later. Let me know down in the comment section who you want me to talk about next week. Have a good day. Make good choices. And I'll be seeing you guys later. Goodbye.